Morning, afternoon, and night, so I catch everybody whatever time they're at. Proven track transmission specialties. That's all what they charged me. And that was $1,720. $250 for the converter. Anyways, this is my transmission rebuild. I got it all back together. I spent $1,700 on this thing, and it took the guy 2 weeks to do it, which whatever, that's his business. But the second time around, I did it myself, and it literally took me 5 minutes, less than 5 minutes to take it completely apart. And this transmission didn't last. I mean, the guy, I told him, oh, so your transmission broke down. He says, well, they're not. He's like, let me put it as kind as I can to you. They're not meant to go in reverse like that or whatever on a plow truck. And I didn't argue with the guy, but the transmission that we had in here before, it came from Chris Hansen's Transmissions out of Anchorage. And everybody and their brother, we beat on that thing for 10 years. Like, literally. So the only reason the first transmission went out is because it got a transmission leak and it got low on transmission oil, and the guy that was driving it didn't know any better. He drove it till it burned up. So then here we are, spent $1,700 on this one. It didn't, and I'm the only one that drives it, and it lasted like one winter, like being driven like maybe 6 or 7 times to the end of the driveway and back. So it didn't get no road time. I don't even think we even got it in the third gear ever. But anyways, it started chattering in reverse. Didn't think much of it. It just did it here and there. But it had an issue. Like here. When he did my tranny, I think he missed this. It probably wasn't this bad or noticeable or whatever maybe, but when I tore it apart, I had to replace this piece. I got this piece off eBay for $20. And it had the stock one-way roller gadget thing there with the 2 washers and the washers and the 2 snap rings. I took it out and put the updated roller in it. So I spent $99, got a rebuild kit, and when I took it apart, these 3 pump bolts were like over torqued, and then the rest of these were just snug. They weren't even torqued. It wasn't leaking, so whatever. And then on the pan, there's like 4 or 5 of the pan bolts that were snug, or they were torqued, I guess. And then the rest of them, like 8 or 9 of them, they were just snug. They weren't even tight, but it wasn't leaking, so whatever. But the real problem is when I took this tranny apart, the direct clutch pack, the hub of the gadget thing, it was put together completely backwards. The apply plate was on the top, and the backing plate, or the apply plate and the cushion ring was on the top, and the backing plate was on the bottom. So it was like completely reversed. I mean, the tranny still worked, but I found that to be wrong. And the valve body, there was only a couple bolts. There was one bolt that was too tight, and the rest were just snug. It's like he didn't torque nothing in this transmission, but whatever, it worked. But it didn't work long because I think he missed this. I think he missed that. That's why it started chattering in reverse. Anyways, I wanted to just make this video to tell everybody that if you're doing this type of transmission, they're super, super easy. I had to fiddle when you put the other thing I can tell you is, oh, he didn't put a bushing kit in it either, or thrust washer kit, whatever you call it. I had to get one of them, but all the thrust washers, they were completely worn out, like every single one of them. So I got a new bushing kit, but the only thing I can really tell you is that when you put this front pump in, you can get some alignment bolts if you want, but you don't have to. Just line it up, push it in, and then line the gasket up or the pump up with the bolts, and start putting the bolts in. But don't grab an impact and start snugging them in, right? Going for it. Grab a hand wrench and turn them in nice and slow. And the whole time keep turning the back of your yoke to make sure it keeps yoking, it keeps turning and not binding up. Because I put my front pump in. Finally, I just turned my transmission up so gravity would help me because it was laying on the side. But I put the front pump in like 3 times or 2 times, and it kept binding up. So I didn't ever get a chance to tighten the bolts up. So I took it apart. I took it completely apart, all the way down to the lower reverse clutch and all that, and put it all back together. And what I found is the direct clutch pack, I needed to go one more little click, and then I put it back together, and I torqued them. I think they're torqued like 18 pounds, but then it didn't bind. So, but that's the most important thing I can tell you is that use a hand wrench on it, and use the torque wrench for sure. Anyways, I'm excited to put this in something. I was going to put it in my plow truck, but the transmission I put in my plow truck works like really good, so I'm not going to mess with it. So anyways, have a nice day, have a nice life, happy tow trucking, and C6 transmissions and Silverados and plow trucks and all that happy horse shit. Anyways, have a nice day, have a nice life. I say that often, like double it, whatever, bye.